Well, that was really difficult to watch. Once again, we're left asking ourselves what to make of the 49ers. They appear to be a team in free fall. The problem is, when the Niners are playing in 80-degree weather on a perfect field and everyone's healthy, they're unbeatable. They're great. They're awesome. But anytime there's an injury or even some rain, it's like, we'll get them next week. But the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. And you don't need to play a single game of football at any level to know that. When we look back to last season, we see a team that was tough, that knew how to play when the chips were down. I remember a game late in the year against the Rams. Garoppolo was injured, and Nick Mullins led that team to a win on the road against a difficult opponent. This year's 49ers seem to have lost that ability completely to deal with adversity. Is this just in our imaginations? Or is that a hard fact of life that we have to face? Have the 49ers indeed lost that ability to adapt? Let's take a look at the film. On this first play, the Niners would hand it to Elijah Mitchell, and that's the last time he would see the football for the next 8 consecutive plays. The drive would continue when the linebacker for Arizona simply turns George Kittle, of all people, loose on this play. And perhaps it's because Garoppolo appears to be holding him with his eyes. Here, all the receivers for the 49ers are covered, so it's a matter of finding the one-on-one coverage in the scheme. Brandon Aiyuk is bracketed on this play, so George Kittle is the next best option, one-on-one. Note that Garoppolo also has a receiver one-on-one at the top of the screen, but for some reason, that's Kyle Juszczyk that's being sent deep on a play. I don't think you want to be throwing a jump ball to Juszczyk, and that's not the first time we've seen him go deep for the 49ers this season. Kind of a curious play call and perhaps not the best use of personnel by Kyle Shanahan. So Garoppolo gives Kittle the one-on-one opportunity, and they just miss connecting on this one. This one had a real good chance as the defender's back is turned, and he does a good job of not interfering with George Kittle until after Kittle touches the ball. Niners just missed that one. And on third down, we see that all the receivers for the 49ers are covered. Now, it looks like Brandon Aiyuk is open for a moment, but his route actually calls for him to turn back towards the sideline, and then he comes back in again on a scramble drill when he sees Garoppolo trying to step up into the pocket. And realistically, this wasn't going to get a first down. The line to gain was the 32-yard line, and it's third down. So Garoppolo is flushed and then sacked. The teams would trade punts, and on the next possession, we see Arizona starts with a blitz. The linebacker drops down to pick up Deebo Samuel, always a good idea, but that leaves George Kittle open over the middle. And this is what makes the Niners so tough to beat when they have all their weapons on the field. Who do you cover? In this case, it's Kittle that's open for the football. And he fumbles it, and it's recovered by Jordan Hicks of the Cardinals. Ouch. Let's take another look at this one. Now, you don't leave your feet unless you have to. Looks like he thought he needed to hurdle here, but he should have secured that football, surrounded by 3 Cardinals like that. The Cardinals would go on a long drive, and here they punch it in with a nice running play that featured some really good blocking. The first thing we notice is that the Cardinals tight end, Darrell Daniels, was lined up in the fullback position. He throws a key block, and Connor will follow behind him. Now, Tavon Wilson is stepping up to make the tackle, but Christian Kirk comes over and cleans his clock. And Emmanuel Mosley, who had been covering Kirk, his momentum is too much. He's unable to stop and change directions, and Connor just goes right around him in a beautiful run en route to the end zone. One other thing I want to point out. Check out the guard for the Cardinals, Sean Harlow, come over and punish Nick Bosa here. Great blocking by Arizona, and it puts the Cards up 7-0. Arizona would get the ball back. Now, all the receivers for the Cardinals are covered on this play. It might look like they have a man open underneath, but he's really being picked up. Also, the line to gain is the 40-yard line. He's too far away to get that first down. That's not a viable option. And to make matters worse, Eric Armstead has gotten past his man. Colt McCoy goes down, but notice the official reaching for a late flag. What happened here? Okay, here's a great look at it. You can see that Armstead is pulling him down by an opening in the helmet. That's a personal foul. And at the end of this, you can see how his helmet comes up and his chin strap is actually up by his nose. It's real clear and obvious, and that's why the official is reaching for his flag. An unfortunate break for the 49ers, but an accurate call. Now, when you have something like that go against you, what's your natural reaction as a defense and also just as a human being? You want to make up for it, right? You want to do something aggressive. You want to make a big play. You want to undo what just happened. And the Cardinals take advantage of that with a trick play. It looks like McCoy is getting ready to swing this ball out to the flat. But notice Christian Kirk coming around. McCoy gives him the ball. This looks like an end around, and this draws the defenders up towards him. Also notice the safety, Tavon Wilson. He takes just a step forward in that direction, and that's enough to put him out of position. He's completely fooled and doesn't see the route of Antoine Wesley coming in wide open behind him, and Christian Kirk throws Wesley a beautiful pass down to the 1-yard line. What a beautiful throw. The Cardinals would punch it in, making the score 14-0. Niners need to score here to keep this game close. Now check out the stem of the route of Brandon Aiyuk, going deep as if he's going towards the end zone. And look where the safety's looking. He's looking at George Kittle. Again, with all of these weapons, who do you cover? So the corner has to respect that Aiyuk could be going deep on this play. He doesn't want to get burned for a long touchdown, and he gives him a lot of space. And Brandon Aiyuk takes the space that the defense left behind. Immediately, he raises his hand like Jerry Rice, but there's no need. Garoppolo has already started his throwing motion. Now this pass is a little high, and check out the defender behind him playing for an interception, and that puts him out of position to make the tackle. So Aiyuk is able to get back up. And this is a very dangerous thing, and the defense is able to come over and punch this ball out. He fumbles the football, and Arizona recovers. Wow. Now, I said that this was a dangerous thing. Whenever you're down and you can get back up is a very vulnerable moment, and it's hard to secure the football. And in fact, it's something we've seen this season when Trenton Cannon fumbled against the Seahawks, and it's something 49ers have seen in the Super Bowl. There it is, Super Bowl 19 against the Dolphins, and that fumble allowed Miami to kick a field goal right at the end of the half, giving them 16 points. Garoppolo throws a little flat-footed, but Aiyuk makes a great catch, but yeah, just doesn't secure that football. And I thought this was the most damaging turnover of the game. Arizona would respond with a long drive. Christian Kirk appears to be coming across on a crossing route, and he catches Talanoa Hufanga a little bit flat-footed when he puts his foot in the ground and blows right by him on a deep route. The other safety is too far away to have an impact on this play. Why? Well, you can see he's being held by the eyes of the quarterback. The pass is complete, and Colt McCoy and Christian Kirk have just burned the 49ers for 50 yards. What do you need to throw the ball deep? Time. Just look at this pocket that McCoy has. McCoy says, "I'm a doctor, not a quarterback," and Kirk says, "I don't care. Throw me the ball. That's an order." And you guys really didn't expect me to go through this whole video without making that joke, did you? It puts the Cardinals in great position, and here McCoy goes down in the arms of Aiyuk Armstead, who's having a nice game. Let's go back and take another look. Nick Bosa made this play happen. He gets a great push to the inside, and when Colt McCoy steps up, Arden Key gets a nice piece of him, and then Aiyuk Armstead cleans up the play. On this next play, the Niners get the stop short of the first down marker. They've successfully held the Cardinals, but notice the exuberance of Josh Norman here. And we don't have the footage on the All-22 tape, but him and Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury would start getting into it and arguing with each other. The result is offsetting penalties, and it gives the Cardinals a first down. That was a huge mental error by Josh Norman. Now, fortunately, the Niners were able to hold Arizona to a field goal regardless. It's still very, very concerning to see that happen. And now the score is 17-0 Arizona. Garoppolo and the Niners have moved the ball well, but they have got to get in the end zone. They can't have another drive end with a turnover. And here, Shanahan lines Kyle Juszczyk up in the tight end position. Now, the corner does a pretty good job in coverage. Juszczyk does have a step on him, but it's close. So Garoppolo throws this ball high and to the outside, where only his guy is going to be able to make a play on it. And we see the officials rule it incomplete. Let's go back to the snap. Now, it's a safe throw, but I kind of like it. Full extension by Juszczyk, and we can clearly see that he did not get his second foot in bounds. But if you're familiar with the name of John Madden's book, you know that one knee equals 2 feet. Now, the officials have a clear view of this, but I think they were both looking at that second foot, which is why they ruled the pass incomplete. The 49ers would challenge this successfully. After replay, the call was overturned, and the 49ers were awarded a first down. Again, the 49ers utilized their weapons. By sending Debo across the middle, the Cardinals commit 2 defenders to him, turning Brandon Aiyuk completely loose one-on-one against the safety down the field. The safety has to play extra carefully not to give up a touchdown, and Garoppolo sees it and gets Aiyuk the football. The Niners' pass protection struggled at times in this game, but here they do a great job. On the left side, we see that Trent Williams is having no problem blocking one-on-one. And the Niners send JaMycal Hasty over to the right side to help. Now Brunskill's man sees that and decides to try his luck over on the left side, but he just runs into Laken Tomlinson there. But why did the Niners send Hasty over to the right side? Well, we see that Mike McGlinchey isn't in the game. That's Tom Compton. Unfortunately, McGlinchey would tear his quad, an extremely painful injury, and he's going to be out for the year. And so the Niners not only sent Hasty over there, who would end up just heading out for a route after finding no one to block, but they also send George Kittle to help Tom Compton on that side. And it's the pass protection on this play that made the play work. The Niners look to finish things off with George Kittle, and his route takes him into the middle of the end zone. But the defender is doing a really nice job here of cutting off his route. Garoppolo redirects Kittle, and the two of them have the chemistry to make this play happen. It's a touchdown for the 49ers, and they make the score 17-7 with just 16 seconds left before the half. By the way, Mark Sanchez on the telecast had a really nice real-time analysis of this play. Okay, let's move ahead to the third quarter. It's still 17-7. The 49ers start this play with a blitz. Now as we move forward, we see that this is unfortunate because this is a screen pass, which is very dangerous against the blitz. Remember, a screen is when you let all those defenders rush forward on purpose so that the offensive linemen can act as blockers down the field, and the 49ers will have no one to take on those blockers. Now, the Niners do actually end up dropping one of their blitzers back to the left side of the field, but this screen is going to the right side of the field. McCoy floats the pass to Connor, and he is off to the races. The score would make it 24-7 Arizona early in the third quarter. To make matters worse, the Cardinals would get the ball back and threaten to score again. And this time, they hand it off to Connor, and the blocking is real nice again for Arizona. They double-team Kentavious Street at the point of attack. Azeez Al-Shaair runs to the hole in the middle. So Connor takes the hole in the left, and they send their wide receiver Wesley to take out Talanoa Hufanga. But at least Dre Kirkpatrick is there to make the tackle for the 49ers. But Connor's got a lot of good options here. He can try to make a cut up the field. He can try to outrun Kirkpatrick to the sideline. He can try to put the spin move on him. But instead, he decides to hit the truck stick, going right through Kirkpatrick. Now, that was such a powerful run, I thought it had to be James Conner, but check it out, it's number 26, Eno Benjamin, who just embarrasses Kirkpatrick on that play. The 49ers secondary held their own earlier in the season, fighting through a lot of adversity, but the last two games they've just looked overmatched. The score is now 31-7, and this game is all but over. But Garoppolo and the 49ers keep fighting. Brandon Aiyuk has had a total renaissance these last two games, and here he's open again. But actually on this play, what I want you to watch is the defender diving at Jimmy Garoppolo's knees here. That's illegal. It's a 15-yard personal foul penalty. So not only do the Niners get the 19 yards from Aiyuk's reception, they also get another 15 yards tacked on after that. Not the tightest of windows, but another nice throw here by Garoppolo. The Niners would continue marching down the field when George Kittle's defender gets a little bit flat-footed here, and Garoppolo slings it way out to him. Now that was about the maximum range for Garoppolo's arm strength, but when the defender is beaten that badly, all you have to do is just throw the ball up like a punt and let your man catch it. The Niners would cap this drive off with another touchdown. Now they're down, and it's third down, so the Cardinals know that the ball has to go into the end zone here, so they drop virtually all their defenders back. But still, Brandon Aiyuk has a lane to the end of the end zone here, so Garoppolo rifles this ball in there to get the touchdown. Really nice throw against about what looked like 4 defenders there. Aiyuk throws the ball up in the air. The Niners would tack on another field goal late, and the scoring would close out at 31-17. Let's look at one more play before we end this analysis. Some context is needed for this play. There's 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, and the Niners are down by 2 touchdowns. So they pretty much have to throw caution for the wind. They don't have time to punt and live for another day. They have to throw this football, period, point blank. And Arizona knows that. So they drop almost everybody back to defend this pass. Now, Garoppolo still tries to squeeze this into Deebo Samuel, but Budda Baker comes over and makes a great play on the ball to intercept it for Arizona. Should Garoppolo have thrown this football? Well, you don't have much choice. You're down 2 touchdowns with 3 minutes to go. You've got to take some risks. And I think that's a good place to end this video and go into our final thoughts. So where do the 49ers go from here? Well, they've got a tough battle with the LA Rams looming on Monday Night Football. And I think the outcome of that game will go a long way in determining what the 49ers decide to do with the rest of this season. If they win that game, they've got Jacksonville coming to town, and they are right back in it for that last playoff spot. They could string a series of wins together pretty easily, I think. On the other hand, if they lose that game, I think you're going to see a look towards the future. Ambry Thomas might get some playing time, Aaron Banks, Diamador Lenore, and Trey Lance. Now, let's address the Lance versus Garoppolo situation here. I'm on record as saying I think Lance should have moved into that starting role after the Cardinals game. Not because of his performance. Remember, he only completed 50% of his passes in that game. But because of his poise. The moment wasn't too big for him. He could clearly handle playing in the NFL. But it turned out he was injured, so Garoppolo came back into that starting job and has played pretty good. He was the number 1 PFF graded quarterback over the last 2 weeks, and he's the number 1 fantasy quarterback over the last 2 weeks. Now that might surprise you, but ultimately it's not going to make a difference. The organization has made a decision to move on to Trey Lance. It's just a matter of when. So, if they lose to the Rams, you're going to see Garoppolo out, potentially, and Lance in. But while we're talking about Garoppolo versus Lance, I have to admit to you guys, some of the discourse around that topic I found to be pretty distasteful, especially on Twitter, where there's been these unnecessary attacks on some of our own players. It reminds me a lot of the "We Want Carr" chant at Candlestick Park, a moment that I think when we all look back on it, we can agree was pretty ugly. So, at the end of the clips that I was showing you guys, I said that that last interception was a good place to leave off for this analysis. Why? Well, we talked about the game situation, but a lot of it is just that, right? It's sort of the perspective that people have on Garoppolo. And on this channel, one thing we really like to do is take a look at history. We give historical context to some of the key plays. For example, in this video, we talked about Trenton Cannon versus the Seahawks. We even went all the way back almost 40 years ago to Super Bowl 19 because it helps us to learn, right? Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. So let's reach back into history one more time, and I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from the former president of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt. "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who actually does strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys have been great. Leave me a comment. I read every comment. It takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could take just 10 seconds and hit that like button for me, I would really appreciate it. All right, it's Niners, it's Rams, it's Monday Night Football, and the game could make a big impact on where the organization goes from here. So you know, after that game, we will be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.